Hello. This is about to autoplay another song, I think. Stop it. Stop it. You stop that. Cease and desist. Okay, anyway, hi. I'm Luxander, and it's a day for us to do a stream. We're doing it. It's time. Oh, gosh. Hello, everybody. You're already in the chat. Look at you. We got Mabs. Hello. I have therapy-related business. I'll be joining late. Salute you. I have therapy-related business after stream. So that's fun. Like, we have couples therapy on Wednesdays after I work. So hi Quantum Chaos says Lux, you did a real super good awesome job with the Forrest Erica stream on Friday and keeping it all together with all their random weird clips. I am proud of you, and you guys should do that more often. I don't know if we're going to do that more often, because listen, that required so much more work than okay, so if you consider like what I do as a producer for the line, what I do is mostly like I monitor the chat and I post links in the chat when relevant. Okay. I change the Chiron, the lower third, when a new caller comes in, and like that kind of stuff. I do end up call screening because after the first hour we lose our screener, so I call screen if needed throughout the show. But then like the most intensive part of the production is super chats, because I have to be watching and paying attention and like listening very intently. You know, if they go on a 45-minute call, that is a time where I'm not having to work as hard. So during that show with Forrest and Erica, where they posted all the clips, it basically like required a lot more ongoing attention. And I don't know. I mean, like I don't know. How did people receive it? Did people enjoy like a stream that was almost entirely just clowning on some guy? I hope that you enjoyed it. It was fun. Hello, Dally. Hello, Robin. Hello, M. Fisher. There's William as well. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Baphomet. Moss Maxing. Luxander pilled Moss Maxer. That's so fucking true. Hi, Mama Mephistopheles. There's Kitty Tick. Hello, Faulty Branches. There's Merlin. Hello, hello. That might be a two-producer show. It doesn't work that way. There is no two producers. Like, I guess the one thing is like it. I don't know. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. I was just like really tired after. So here's last week. I worked 7 days in a row because we had like a Saturday show, and then I stream on Sundays, and then I produced the After Dark show. We had an 8-hour show on Monday, or 7 or 8 hours, and then another 7 or 8 hour show on Friday, and no days off. And so on Saturday, I was like, wow, I'm just going to play Stardew Valley all day. And then Sunday morning came around, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to stream today because I still have to produce the After Dark show, and I want to just fucking do nothing between now and then. So tell Forrest to pull up his own clip. Yeah, pull up your own fucking clips. I might have to get Forrest to talk to Owen, because Owen was doing a screen share in a way that we could hear his audio. But when Forrest has been previously done screen shares through the new Zoom feature. Yeah, I should remember to text somebody about that later. Mustafa Awesome, hello. Have you been playing TBC? Because I haven't. I want to die. No, I only play Era, and actually we just let our subscriptions lapse. So I don't currently have an active WoW subscription. Most people said it was the best show in a while. Really? Really? Hi, Katali. Welcome in. There's Amy. Hello. Most people said it was the best show in a while. Interesting. I guess, you know, it was different. And so people are going to definitely be drawn to the novelty of, like, instead of doing just calls, having little breaks between the calls where for, 10 or 15 minutes, we just talk about something else. Yeah, I don't know. Final Fantasy 14 is better than WoW. How is the PvP in Final Fantasy 14? I've never played FF14, but the thing that I love about WoW is PvP, so I don't know. I wish I could do the same, but I'm a guild officer. Oh yeah, that's a bummer. Please send Idaho trans folks love. We really need it right now. What happened in Idaho? I have not been. It's crazy how I'm like on social media way more than I want to be, and yet I'm somehow like still kind of missing out on the news. Why did I do that? I want to go to Aaron in the morning. What happened in Idaho? Baphomet FF14 is so ass. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. I bought a membership to RuneScape for the first time since starting in 0506. Wow. Yeah, where it's you need your comfort stuff sometimes. Factorio has sucked me in again. Yeah, so I've been playing lots of Picross recently, or Nonogram, or whatever you want to call it, and Stardew Valley. I'm like working toward some longer term achievements in Stardew Valley, so that's kind of one of the things that I've been working on. It's the furthest I've ever gotten in Stardew Valley, because typically what happens is I start a game in Stardew Valley, I play a lot until I get to a year 3, and then I stop playing, and then by the time I want to play again, I feel like, meh, like I want to start over. So I have like 5 different files on Stardew Valley where I've gotten to year 3. So right now I'm actually on year 5, which is strange because you get to, it changes. I'm going to talk about Stardew Valley for a second. So Stardew Valley is like a farm game, but it's also got other stuff. You can go into the mines and do combat and all this kind of shit. So at first it feels very imperative to like every day you have to feed your animals and pick up everything that they have and like take care of what's going on your farm. And then you kind of reach a point where you've gotten a bunch of the achievements and you're at a level of sustainability. So like the where I'm at right now in Stardew Valley is most of the money that I make is like kind of passive income. It's like I have my entire greenhouse filled with ancient fruit. I put the ancient fruit in the, I don't know what it's called. I'm going to say juicer, even though that's not what it's called, but it creates a bottle of wine. And then you take the wine and you put it in the casks, and then it takes like a month or something for them to get up to the highest quality, and then you take them out and you sell all of them all at once, which means I make like 800,000 gold at a time doing that. And the casks take so long that I continue to get wine, and so I'll just sell that even though it's at the lowest quality for like 250,000 gold. I don't have like any actual crops out on my farm right now. All of my animals are on an auto feed system. So I just leave the farm, and like, so right now what I'm doing is every day I go to the mines and I go get stone, because there's like the big boulders that drop more stone. So I just go through and spend literally all day getting the stone, because I'm using the stone to make the staircases so that I can get to the bottom of the mine in the desert. So anyway, nobody gives a shit about any of this, but that's just kind of what I've been doing with my game. WoW is in World of Warships? Nope. World of Warcraft. Is it just me, or are fewer conservative and MAGA people calling into the line? Little things like that gives me hope and will actually defeat Trumpism. So it varies. There are some nights where I'm like, Jesus, where are these people? Like, where are they at? But Sunday this past week, we had John from Godless Engineer and Owen Telltale on the show, and it was fucking banger after banger, theists calling in one after the other. But I think part of the reason why that was, is that Jimmy's show with the vertical format is finding a different audience, and then they send that audience over to the After Dark show, like the redirect feature on YouTube, which is like a raid on Twitch, where all of your viewers just like get sent to this other live stream. So Skull Cavern is bottomless. Okay, well, there's something about getting to level 120. So I'm trying to get to level 120 in the Skull Cavern. Excuse me. Oh my god, I'm gonna clear my throat. Yeah, so I wonder if it's that the religious fervor is dying down, so we don't like sometimes we don't get enough religious callers on the line. So maybe we're going to find a situation where our political shows, such as the ones that we do on the Jimmy Snow show, like maybe those are going to start performing better and getting a broader audience and getting more calls. So I'm not sure. I mean, certainly we get like on average, I think more viewers on Jimmy Snow show compared to, especially compared to the Transatlantic show. You know, the Transatlantic show usually peaks at like I want to say like 600. A really good chewed gum will peak around 1,000, like with Promise on there especially. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna die. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just sometimes I feel like, yeah, maybe they're losing steam. The conservatives and the MAGA and the Christians, like they're losing steam. The Christian nationalists, like whatever. So sometimes I do feel that way. And other times I'm like, no, they're just as fucking terrible. You get loads of MAGA on Javon's show. Yeah. I texted him and I need to follow up because we were talking about doing a show together on his show, and I would love to do that. I haven't done a show with Jovan since that one time he dropped in with Jimmy. He was like at Jimmy's house. Oh my god, y'all are leaving paragraphs in the website chat. What is going on? Bathroom ban in Idaho. Okay. Hell yeah, Kitty. I'm glad that you're getting off of a medicine you don't want to be on anymore. I get to give some ADHD meds a try. Yes, I need to like get my files transferred from my old doctor's office up here so that my current doctor will give me probably a non-stimulant form of ADHD medication, but god, I would love to be on something that treats my stupid brain. I made a video about the Idaho bathroom ban. It's been expanded to private businesses, which is going to backfire massively because the liability is on the facilities. They've been fine putting liability on the facilities while limiting it to public facilities because they're fine with frivolous fines draining public services, but their donors are not going to like having a million frivolous lawsuits and paying bathroom guards. Republicans continue to step on this particular rake of unenforceable policy. Excuse me, like some don't actually care about lots do. Why they don't actually think it through, I will never understand. Streamlabs lets me set on vertical and horizontal on YouTube at the same time. Do y'all do that? No, we stream with vMix, which is not the same program as Streamlabs. And there is a function that's coming out on YouTube that will allow us to do a dual stream with vMix. So we're just kind of waiting for YouTube to finish rolling out that. And we are going to basically like the Jimmy Snow show and all of the shows on the line, I think. We're planning on eventually having them sent out to both at the same time. So I think it'll catch a bigger audience. I've been playing Stardew in real life for the last little while. Had to level up my woodcutting skill, but now I can split a log into 8 fence rails the length of whatever log I'm cutting. I can do a tree length log after getting to level 6. Soon to build a greenhouse tower using knots I learned in the scouts. Hell yeah. That's cool. I'm excited. Oh my god. Okay, bye. You're so strange. We got a weirdo in the chat, y'all. I don't really understand the premise of like I don't really understand the premise. I forget I don't ever have to do this in chat. Hold on. What is the real quick. Fascinating. Anyway, Yeah, I really like the idea of getting to do more stuff outside. I'm like seriously working on my health. That's the main thing that I'm trying to do at the moment. So I like went gym shopping earlier today. Go find a new gym. Oh, why the fuck am I not logged into chat? Jesus Christ. Sorry for the dead air, y'all. Definitely do another show with Jovan. That one was one of my favorite ones. Yeah, the like full length show that we did together was really fun. I wasn't expecting to get to do a show with him um again, but like that one time I was on with Jimmy and then Jovan showed up because he was like physically there like visiting. Cool. All right. I so rarely have to ban anyone in my website chat. I had to ask Gayfesh how to do it because I couldn't remember. I haven't had to do it in like a year. I've been using this splitting wood as a way to work out but avoid people and playing with word just all the time lately. Hell yeah. With wood all the time lately. Nice. I really do enjoy um yeah, I thought it was slash ban, but it's exclamation marks instead. Anyway, I know that like Jimmy's gotten really into doing carpentry recently. I asked my partner recently when I was like, yeah, if we get a house with like a garage or a workshop or something and we have more space, like what's the thing that you're most excited to get to do on a regular basis? And he was like, yeah, getting to work on like carpentry stuff or woodworking things. Uh because I mean, I was kind of like I'm in this phase of my life where I'm trying to figure out what I want to continue doing with myself. Baphomet, you've been muted automatically by Cobot. Oh, you muted yourself, you fucking nerd. It's been forever since I used chat commands either. I've just had to do it so much in the past, it was a muscle memory. And yeah, no, that makes sense. I imagine you had to do it a lot with Demon Mama, but then she hasn't been streaming, so you're not really like actively needed as a mod. But thank you so much. I appreciate you getting back to me quickly on that. Yeah, we have some very big feelings in chat. Some big, big feelings. Rob says, I was literally just watching you and Jovan doing a show together when I saw that you were live and wanted to catch you live for the first time. Hello. Welcome in. Thank you so much for chilling. Yeah, my stream, we don't do call-in bullshit. A lot of the time we don't even talk about politics. Sometimes we do. Like someone mentioned the Idaho thing, and yeah, okay, so Idaho House votes passes trans bathroom ban in private businesses as the bill rockets through the legislature. So this doesn't actually ban trans people explicitly. I think this law just opens private businesses up to lawsuits. So it's kind of like a bounty law. Uh, if someone sees a trans person using the quote unquote wrong bathroom at a private business, they can sue the business. How that works, I do not know. Like, do you need to like get the information like an insurance claim from the trans person before they leave? Like, hey, what's your name? And show me your ID. Like, how are you going to prove in the lawsuit that like how are you going to prove in the lawsuit that there even was a trans person? What if the business doesn't have cameras or something? Like, I don't fucking understand how it's supposed to work. I don't even think it's supposed to work, really. I at some point I wonder, like, is there a point to passing these laws aside from just like the psychological damage, like the psychic damage that trans people take. Because again, like I'm like, how in the fuck? I genuinely, like, I do not, yeah, trying to force businesses to police their bathrooms. It's going to be an absolute mess when when cis non-gender conforming folks get caught up in it. That's true. Yeah. How do you know they're trans? Um, what would your wrestling entrance music be? I don't know. I don't watch wrestling, so I don't really know. The Game of Thrones theme. That sounds like it would be fun. Would you be able to do Attack Us together sometime with Addie? That would be great for the non-binary rep. Yeah, I would love to do that, especially because if you guys don't follow Adeline Gray, who she, up until very recently, worked at one of the only legal brothels in the United States, in the state of Nevada. And Addie was fired from the ranch along with at least 2 other sex workers there because of their union activity. So right now, Addie, if you follow her on like Threads and Instagram, they're talking a lot right now about, hey, we're trying to unionize, and they're joining with the CWA, and they're starting a petition for them to get their jobs back and a GoFundMe to support their legal fees as they continue through this process. And yeah, so there's kind of a lot of shit going on with Addie as well. So I really am quite taken with Adeline. I think it's just like we have a similar kind of freak, except that they're much more willing to like do body modifications. But I'm like, they have a big giant dragon scale tattoo, which I'm like, that's fucking lit. And then they have their split tongue. I don't know. I'm like, Addie is so fucking cool. I want to be their friend, but I just don't, I'm not good at doing that. But yeah, they're very cool. I should ask them sometime. Maybe we'll have an opening in March. If we have any open spots for sure in March, I should ask them if they're available. I feel like I'm getting a million billion fucking notifications recently, and it's seriously pissing me off. Okay, cool. Get away from me. I was in the middle of editing Princess Bride when you messaged. Nice. Yeah, we just recorded our episode of the podcast, The Many Worlds Hypothesis, on the GayFesh YouTube channel for The Princess Bride, which of course is like such an amazing movie. And we're going to do When Harry Met Sally next, which is a movie none of us have seen before. That's very, very exciting. I don't think Addie has set up their own ranch. What they're trying to do is get their job back at Sherry's ranch, but just with union protections, because they introduced a new contract for the workers that was basically trying to, it was giving the ranch like extended power of attorney over the workers and giving the ranch ownership over all of the workers' intellectual property. So like Addie has a band, like she's in a band, and the expectation would be that the ranch owns all of the creative property of the band. Like, that's fucking not cool. Like, it's very seriously not cool, the contract that all the workers were given. So that's why they were like, we need to unionize so that we can so we can fight this. And yeah, we support unionizing workers for sure. Mama, you're a fucking dork. I've been knowing what I wanted to do for a long time. I just kept getting bogged down in the how. The last 4 years, I read all the right books with the right YouTube videos, and the plan feels real for the first time. I think what gave me the peace I have right now, having the anxiety reduced, helped me come up with the last little pieces of how I'm going to do it all. Yeah, because you're trying to set up your land for long-term sustainability, right? That's very cool. Mama says the point of these bathroom laws is fear, enabling misogynists to declare themselves a gender police and provide justification to invade people's privacy. Union organizing is the hottest thing about Addie, and I do not say that lightly. True. Yeah, it's true. Oh, Kitty, God bless. Says I just finished rereading The Inheritance Cycle and will be tracking down Murtagh soon. Many of my younger self criticisms feel very young to me now. The books are not perfect, but I also cannot say I could do better today, let alone when I was 15. Well done, Mr. Paolini. So I think you will like Murtagh a lot when you read it. It is a very different kind of book, a different kind of story with a different focus, but I do think it is a more adult. First of all, he's written as an adult, and it's about an older character. Like Murtagh is a few years older than Aragon, and his struggle is so different to Aragon's, and there's none of that like Mary Sue energy. And like, I'm not criticizing Aragon per se. I'm just like, I get the criticisms. Like there is a little bit of like, he just is really good at a lot of the things that he tries, or like gets really good at it in a relatively short amount of time. And I feel like Murtagh just like has to fight a little harder, like has to work a little harder. And he has a different set of like values and the different things that he thinks about. So like, I genuinely think that it's a more enjoyable book for like the adult audience. A lot of people fucking don't like Murtagh. A lot of fans of the Inheritance Cycle do not like Murtagh. Yeah. How? Okay, so you guys, have I told you? I think I've told you this before, but I'm bringing it up again. We have talked about, my partner and I have talked about doing like starting a podcast about the Inheritance Cycle. So like the Aragon books. There's a Disney Plus show, and there's new news about the Disney Plus show. Disney, hold on, wait. Aragon showrunners. They've just recently announced who the showrunners are going to be for the Aragon series, the Disney Plus series that's going to come out. Todd Helbing as co-showrunners, Mark Webb as executive producer. Some of the other projects that they've worked on have been there are a lot of executive producers on this show. It's in development. Come on. Okay, my God. Harthen is currently the showrunner on the hit ABC series High Potential, which I've never seen. He previously created the Fox drama series Rosewood, has worked on other shows like Psych, Crash, Dominion, The Resident, and The Company You Keep. Helbing was the co-creator of the popular CW series Superman and Lois. He was also the showrunner of The Flash, the CW Arrowverse version. He is also currently developing a Mech Cadets TV series at Disney. He's worked on shows like Black Sails, Spartacus, and Smallville. So we're getting a really interesting, like somebody with a lot of superhero franchise background as one of the co-showrunners. Webb is known for directing films like 500 Days of Summer, as well as the blockbusters The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. He also worked on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Limitless, and High Potential. So these are like the showrunners. I'm just reading off of the Variety announcement thing. So these are our showrunners and executive producers for the Inheritance Cycle TV show, the Aragon TV show that we're going to be getting. And I would really love to have it go well. I would really love to have it go well. And I've talked about like doing a podcast with my partner where I'm sure what we would probably do is a mixture of like talking about the books, and then like probably like try to build up a little bit of an audience. Like let's do an episode of our fan cast, like who would we want to see cast in the show? When they start announcing the cast, we will probably make an episode about that. In the lead up, probably talk about the books and go into, you know, maybe not like chapter by chapter per se, but maybe, I don't know. I'm not really sure what people would want from that kind of podcast, but the idea is it would be very focused on this one thing. And we could do like a few years of, maybe not weekly, maybe every other week, but a podcast about the inheritance cycle and like our theories about how the magic system works, or, you know, Easter eggs and stuff, like, oh, what do we think is going to happen with these characters later on? And yeah, I think it's one of those things that's like, my partner and I sometimes are like struggle with conflict, and I think that when we hang out and enjoy something together is like when our relationship has like the sense of ease that we fall into. And so I think this might be good for us to have, like, you know, we enjoy talking about dumb shit, like the movies that we like and the book series that we like, and theorizing about how this thing works or that thing works. Mark Webb directed the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend pilot. Yeah, and I've heard Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is an amazingly good show. Like, I've heard that people really like it. I haven't seen it myself. I've heard that it's a really good representation of BPD. I had a similar contract presented by a previous employer, and it was a hard no. IP being handed to the company for things during work hours is already sketch to me, but any stretch to do anything in my case code created outside of work is absolute horse shit. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck, like, any company... I've probably heard it from you. No. Yeah, undoubtedly. I know that you are one of the people I've heard is, like, big on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I might also be thinking of, like, a super old Sophie from Mars video about, like, good BPD representation. Obviously, Sophie is a terrible person who has lost all credibility and needs to stop fucking creating content. But yeah, I understand that people with BPD think that Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is a good show. Bananas, you say? Exactly. With my land, I plan to make a fuck you monument to greed, is probably the simplest way to put it. I want to prove a point on how much a person, as in an individual person, can do to help others if they just think hard enough about it. In this, our world of 2026, there is so much more than enough. The monument will be a school teaching anyone who wants to learn how. It will have a free market open daily for anyone who wants free produce or wares we have for free. Small shop will sell art. Good. Whoa. Thank you, Shell, yeah.
I purchased Tranarchy beanie for $25. Boop. Less than 3.
Thank you. I sound really quiet. Jesus fucking H Christ, dude. Why does it do this? God, that's so annoying. Is it like anytime I get into a call on Discord, probably? Like anytime I get into a Discord call, it just decides to take my fucking volume down to 65%. Christ. And I haven't worked it into my boost, my like beginning process. Y'all have to tell me if I'm quiet, like within the first couple minutes. It's been 40 minutes. I've already been talking at like a super depressed volume. I fucking hate whatever it is that is making this happen. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Lexi, for letting me know. Wow, I worked for Blockbuster in the 90s as a cashier, and that employment contract also claimed to own any and all IP I created while I was employed by them. That, I'm like, I don't know how, you know, Office Space and the stapler situation, I can very much imagine wanting to go there if a company is like, by the way, I own all of your IP. Like, are you trying to get the building burned down, sir? Is that what you're Is that what your goal is? Your goal is to have an employee show up and shoot the place up? Like, I'm not saying that I'm going to do that, but is it going to be a little like a little Dane Cook moment? Thanks for the candy. Like, that's crazy. I mean, I guess they're just assuming that people don't read the employment contract, but like, who the fuck do you think you are? It's the Windows I know better than you and you got into a call setting. Yeah, I mean, I would prefer to know so that I can fix it. If it like I just like, how the fuck am I supposed to train myself to remember that? It doesn't happen every time. But I don't want there to be like a dramatic volume difference between myself and the ads, because the ads are already kind of loud sometimes. So I'm like, I don't want you to like crank up my volume and then an ad comes and you're like, I'm fucking deaf now. You don't wear enough flair. I know. I feel like you can't tell that my hair is in a bun. It's like hiding behind my head. I need a higher bun. I've been a fan of Rachel Bloom since she did Fuck Me Ray Bradbury back in YouTube's early days, and when the pilot episode dropped, I probably watched it 10 to 20 times before the second episode dropped. Okay, listen, I'm so glad that I'm not the only person who will like watch an episode of a show multiple times. Like, I'm watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms right now, and each week I watch the episode probably 2 or 3 times, and then I'm also consuming like multiple different videos throughout the week. Sometimes I blow my entire load on Monday, but yeah. Which, by the way, if anybody's watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and you watched episode 5, all I have to say is and that's my review of episode 5. Hello, Jess. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. When I was streaming, I always just got in the habit of checking my Windows microphone volume before starting, but also my anxiety exhibits as severe perfectionism. I have the perfectionism problem also, but I don't have the memory to support my perfectionism. Like, I genuinely just completely fucking forget that the volume is a thing that can be wrong. I'm like, because look at it, I can see it in the fucking Streamlabs. If everything in Streamlabs seems to be working, I just literally, completely and utterly and totally forget that I could possibly need to double check. It's like when I'm inside my house and there's something I need to do with my car. Like, I really need to replace the windshield wipers on my car. I live in a very rainy place. Do not ever fucking remember it until I'm literally in my car. So yeah. Sapphic Hazard, hello. Oh, did you say something earlier and I read your comment, but I didn't see your name? Is that what happened? Yeah, that is what happened. Okay, yeah. I was a Blockbuster employee too. Hell yeah, except probably that sucked. Yeah, thank you so much for purchasing a hat from me. That's very kind. Did I say earlier that I got a gym membership today? It was kind of a last minute decision, but like, I have been working out at home and I can't like do very much at home, especially if like my goal this year is to put on weight in the form of muscle weight. Like, I really want to like build muscles, especially in my lower body, because that will help my symptoms, which I am still in the process of figuring out what the fuck is wrong with me. Check this out. I am wearing a heart monitor right now. So that's what this is. It's so itchy. Like, I cannot describe to you how itchy this is and how constant that itchiness is. It's terrible. And I have to be, it's for 14 days. I'm wearing this heart monitor for 14 days. So, yay, trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with me. I just got blood work done. And she tested, like, if I have any vitamin or mineral deficiencies or anything. And I don't. is like, oh, because like an iron deficiency would have made a lot of sense given my symptoms, and that sometimes I get dizzy after, like I get dizzy after my period and stuff, in a way that like I do not usually get actually dizzy, like the ceiling is spinning dizzy, but it happens sometimes. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I have low iron. Nope, it's totally fine. My iron is fine. My B12 is fine. So I'm now reaching the point with my chronic illness where it's like, oh, all of your labs are fucking fine. It's like, who knows what's wrong with you? Like, great. I'm gonna lose it. I'm still in the phase where I'm like delusional enough to think that I am going to figure out what the problem is and then get on some kind of specific treatment, and then I'll be okay. So like I'm like, what do we do after a certain point? What, like, where do we go from here? I'm supposed to get an ultrasound of my heart. I just had an EKG, and I think the EKG was fine and I didn't have like any symptoms during my EKG. So it's probably not going to show anything. It's like the 15-day or the 14-day monitor might show something. I'm supposed to press this button on here whenever I have a symptom, and then like they give me a little book to write my symptoms down in, which like I haven't been doing it super consistently because I don't want to fill up this entire thing with a bunch of them that just say, I was literally sitting in my chair and my heart did a backflip. Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with it. So, yeah. Jesus. You do look a lot buffer. So I shouldn't look buffer because I'm not doing any upper body exercises. I've been like exclusively doing legs and like butt and hip stuff. So if I look buff right now, it's because I'm wearing a compression shirt. So this is abdominal compression. It goes all the way down to my hips. This is supposed to help me with my symptoms, like, because it's supposed to be better than just wearing, like, I wear compression socks every day, but this is supposed to help, like, more, apparently, like, to have a compression on your abdomen helps more than compression on your legs. I'm still wearing compression socks, but so it's basically, like, it's making my pecs look more defined, I guess, and like changing the shape of my boobs, and it's also kind of like making my tricep over here stick out a little bit more. So I would love to be able to do upper body exercises. It's just going to be a bit, I think, before I can. So I am doing so many things to try to feel better. Would that help back pain? Possibly. So I think it is definitely helping with my posture, because it's just like squeezing my body like from here all the way down to my hips. And that is part of why I'm wearing it too, is because I've been trying to improve like my shoulder and trap health, and like also my neck alignment by not shrimping all the time. And so this is definitely promoting some more upright posture and like helping me pull my shoulders back, which ideally will also help me pull my neck back. So yeah, I am hoping that it will help with like a few different issues here. What the fuck? Dude, stop fucking sending me notifications for that. I'm gonna freak out. Compression stuff drives me nuts. I prefer loose clothing. I'm at a point where it literally doesn't matter what I prefer. I want to feel better. So regardless of whether it's comfortable, you know, like I don't really find compression underwear very comfortable. I have a very specific type of underwear that I like to wear. But some days I need the extra like medical support. So I wear underwear that I don't like, that aren't comfortable, because I want to feel okay. And so that's like, okay, check this out. Every day in the morning, I put about 7 or 8 grams of salt in here. And throughout the day, I just like throw back some of this and drink water. And I'm drinking like almost 2 of these per day right now. This is 64 ounces of water. I'm drinking almost 2 of these every day. I've changed my diet to like, I mean, not totally, like we still had pot roast this week, but I'm doing like a Mediterranean diet. I've incorporated a lot of different things. Like I've got like just changing out some of my snacks. So instead of doing chips, I'll do like Triscuits instead, or I'm trying to eat more beans and more fish. Oh shit. Oh man. I think I was supposed to go get shrimp today. I guess I'll have to do that on Friday. Yeah, I'll have to tell my kiddo that like they're supposed to do shrimp Alfredo today, but I didn't go get shrimp. So I'll have to do that Friday. So I'll just have them do a different meal tonight. Okay, cool. Anyway, sorry. I was just like I was like, "Oh shit, I just remembered that I was supposed to do something today and completely forgot. I forgot all about it." Hello, Kaylee. Yeah. So in terms of like, did I have a good day today? I have like a reasonable amount of anxiety about being around other people because of the whole COVID of it all. But I am also recognizing that if I don't do some active work on this, it will become full-blown agoraphobia. So I went to several gyms this morning to like check out. I was like on Google. On Google, you can see like when a business is most busy and like when, what times of day are they most busy and everything. So I went this morning during like that gap in the mid-morning when most gyms are showing that they're not very busy. I went to one gym. Oh my God, it was way too busy. It was like one of the cheaper gyms and it was so fucking busy at the least busy time of day. And I was like, this is a nightmare. I'm going to freak out. I don't want to go to this gym. There's no possible way I'm going to come here. But I did the tour, You can just go to a gym and they'll give you a free tour, by the way, if you're ever trying to figure out if there's a good gym for you to go to. And I went to 2 other gyms and I was like, okay, but like I went to 3. When I got to the second gym, I was like seriously considered just driving around it and then leaving. And I was like, listen, this is going to become a problem. If you don't park your car and get the fuck out and go in there and say, hey, can I have a tour? This is quickly going to become a very serious problem. And I got done in that gym and they were like, oh, there's a different location that you might like better than this location. So I went to a different location and I was like, okay. Like I had originally intended to go home after the second gym. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll go ahead and visit the location that they told me to check out and I'll see how it goes. And I liked that one. And then I signed up. So I was like, okay, that's what you do, by the way, is if you have an anxiety about something and you're like, never mind, I'm not going to do it, then you just make it more likely for you to be anxious. So that's how social anxiety becomes full fucking agoraphobia. And so that's what you have to do. Like you have to like go against it. And I am not going to be able to achieve my goals unless I go to a gym, whether that's my cardio. Like I don't think I'm doing as well on my cardio as I could be because I want to do the full body row machine where like you fully like bend your knees and pull back the thing. That's supposed to be the best cardio. Like people who do that have like the biggest, most strong hearts of like any other athletes. Like rowing gives you really good cardio. And then I want to weight train because what I've been doing is just exercising with my body weight on the floor. So like, I'll like lay on my side and have my legs going straight, and I'm doing this with my legs. I'm like I'm lifting this leg and bringing it back down, and lifting this leg and bringing it back down. Or I'll lay on my back and I'll like bend this knee and then raise this leg and like do straight leg raises. And it's not challenging, but I'm not able to go to failure, which is what Mama Mephistopheles said earlier. She said that she's been going to failure more and getting stronger. And so I want to push to failure. And that's how you build muscle. And for my issues, if like the issues that I have are like broad dysautonomia that maybe has no cure, which seems to be the way, like I do not have any significant mineral or vitamin deficiencies. I don't have a significant, like nothing on my blood work is showing up. Maybe I have a heart defect and I'll find that out next month. Like maybe, but like having stronger muscles that can force the blood through your body better. Because like I don't really know exactly how that works, but that is how it works. Like having a strong lower body means that your blood pumps easier through your body. And having a stronger heart by doing more cardio, like that also helps with your blood pumping, even if your body is like, I kind of don't want to pump the blood correctly. If your heart is like, well, bitch, I'm so strong that I'm going to pump the blood anyway. That's what deconditioning is like if you don't exercise enough and then especially your heart, like can't pump as hard, or like it doesn't like contract hard enough. So each time it pumps, it's like not pumping enough. And then it has to do it more rather than like strong, like slower heartbeat, which is why people who do really good cardio have like a lower resting heart rate because their heart is like squeezing fully every time. Anyway. Rowing is an amazingly good exercise. Yeah, that's what I've heard. And it's like a full body experience rather than I have my pedals that I have on my floor right now where I just pedal my little feet. So, yeah. Tonight after D&D, I will either go to the gym or do a stream. I need to be bullied into one or the other, though. Well, one of them costs money and one of them makes money, but also one of them gives you gains and the other one doesn't. So, you know, which way do you want to do it? Which way do you want to do it? I loathe most other types of cardio, but I love rowing. I think it's probably going to be really, really hard at first because I have not been doing a very intensive form of cardio. Like I've just been doing the leggies. So I think I might have to take it super easy when I first start rowing because I don't think it'll take very much to like really get my heart going. And where I'm at with my exercises right now is I'm supposed to be doing like a relatively easy pace. So yeah, what's up, Jer Bear from Michigan? Hello. Okay, T-Soul Rebel, you're talking about the one in Idaho, saying they take photos of the person is what the sponsors of the bill are saying. My job is preparing for if the bill passes so that our patients and staff are safe from being the reason the hospital is sued. This is the thing that I think a lot of businesses are going to do. And this is part of the reason why I chose the gym that I chose, is that they have all gender neutral bathrooms. I don't know if that's the case with their locker rooms. I don't remember, but like if like all of the restrooms are gender neutral in every business, like you don't even have to renovate the insides of the bathroom. Just take the fucking sign off that says this is a women's bathroom or a men's bathroom and just put a unisex sticker on that, especially if it's a single occupancy. Like, especially if it's a single occupancy bathroom, which I think a lot of businesses have a single, if they even have a public restroom, it's going to be a single occupancy, unless it's like a large gym or, you know, like maybe an airport might have like a multi-stall bathroom. Just slap a fucking gender neutral sign on there. No lawsuits. No more lawsuits. Like, unless this law in Idaho specifies you must have separate spaces for males and females, which I know some places can have that. But yeah, I don't know. Hold on. Let's look at this. Let's take a gander through Aaron's article here. The bill would allow individuals to sue private businesses that fail to prevent trans people from using restrooms consistent with their gender identity. Existing bathroom bans across the country have been limited to schools, colleges, or government buildings. This bill goes so much further, effectively requiring every restaurant, gas station, and retail store in the state to police their restrooms or face legal liability. For transgender Idahoans, it could mean that there is nowhere safe to use the bathroom. It sucks that that state is adjacent to mine. Passed overwhelmingly in the House. The bill now moves to the Senate, where Republicans similarly hold a majority. It would be one of the first states in the nation to target private businesses with a bathroom ban. Under the bill, government entities would face a $10,000 minimum penalty per instance that someone, quote, encounters a member of the other sex in a restroom, plus additional damages for psychological, emotional, and physical harm, plus attorney's fees. Private businesses, meanwhile, would face negligence liability for failing to, quote, take reasonable steps to prevent trans people from using restrooms consistent with their gender identity. Yeah, like I don't think that anything in this bill says that you must have sex differentiated bathrooms. So yeah, I mean, I do think that that's kind of the solution to the problem. Ugh. They passed a fucking bounty for trans people in bathrooms and ID revocation law in Kansas. What the fuck? Yeah, it's interesting because, again, they already passed a similar law in Kansas, and it is being struck down by the courts. So they were just like, fuck it, we'll pass a new law that says basically the same thing. And are they not expecting it to get shut down in the courts? Like, I don't fucking know. Anyway, whoa, holy shit. I woke up the other morning and one of my fingers had simply stopped working. I bought all the things I remember my dad buying and did everything he used to do. My finger works again, and I have new data saying arthritis or other inflammatory disorder is my culprit. Please just be 2 or less things. Oh my god, that would terrify me. I would be worried that there was something wrong with my brain. Like, oh, my fingers don't work. Like, oh, that's not good. Roman chair crunches are really good for your back. They can be done weighted or unweighted. Roman chair crunches. I really like the gym that I got a membership at. I think it's got like a huge amount of equipment, and the person I was talking to was like, yeah, so this part of the gym, like this equipment is away from the other equipment because this is like where a lot of women work out because it's the butt stuff. It's the butt equipment. And they were like, so we don't want like, you know, women over here doing hip thrusts right next to the squat racks. And I was like, damn, this gym cares about people. That's so awesome. But what is Roman chair crunches? Are these like sideways? What is this? Roman chair crunches. Give me images. Let's do images. Okay. It's confusing because I'm seeing like several different pieces of equipment on this Google search right now. Yeah, I don't know what, like, what do you mean when you say Roman chair crunches? The other day I laid on my back in bed and tried to let my head hang off the edge. That position should not induce such stretchy feelings or resistance. We're getting old. We're getting old, yo. I heard Republicans in Iowa have lost some support. I hope so. Republican farmers are pissed at Trump. The rest are just going along for the hate. While I was driving around earlier today, I saw someone carrying a sign, and it was not like in concert with a protest. I for a second I thought it was a homeless person who had like a sign, you know, because they like there's a shit ton of homeless people in the Portland area, and you know they'll have signs like anything helps, or one time I saw an old guy who had a sign that said like I'm not pretty enough to, or yeah, it was like I'm not pretty enough to strip. So can you give me, you know, like, trying to solicit donations? I was like, okay, that's, you know, that's fun. You know, it sucks that you're hard by, you know, but that's, you know, you're keeping a good humor about it. But I was driving around today and I saw a person carrying a sign that said like something about pedo Trump cover up or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. And by looking at them, they kind of seemed like the sort of individual who might be like an unhinged Trump supporter. I know I'm judging on appearances, but like if you imagine if you're like a person with a badly made homemade cardboard sign with big messy lettering on it, and like imagine that they're the kind of person who looks like they would probably be a Trump supporter, but the sign says like pedo Trump cover up. I was like, damn, okay, cool, okay, interesting. Ugh. I gotta say, the perks I unlocked during level 35 do not bode well for 36. Listen, I think, you know, just keeping active, I think, is really important. So, but it sucks if you have arthritis and you're like, literally, my hands don't work. I would freak out personally. I wouldn't. I probably would figure out how to handle it, but there would definitely be a moment where I would be like, oh no, this is a problem. And then I'd be like, life is still worth living. But there would definitely be that moment where I'd be like, oh no. Quantum gives us some sick advice and says hanging your head backwards off your bed is a great way to make your voice sound sick if you need to fake being sick to get out of work, by the way. Dude, last night I said something on the stream. What was it? It was chewed gum last night. I like during super chats, I like said something and Jimmy texted me and was like, "Are you sick?" And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Oh, you sounded congested." I'm like, I just used nasal spray. I bought like a new. Usually I use betadine nasal spray for like an additional level of defense against COVID, even though I'm already wearing a mask. But I'm like running out of this. It's like basically empty, and there wasn't any more. I like looked at Amazon. I looked at any local, like I used Uber Eats to look and see if any like local pharmacies had it, and nobody had it. So I found out that Salinex has the same active ingredient as betadine. So this is like a reasonable alternative. The Salinex Protect specifically, because it has what is it called? Iona carrageen or something? Iota carrageenan. Yeah, so this is just a little backup that you can use. And I think that that's why I sounded sick, because I had used this pretty recently. Does anyone know if there are any Salmation streamers or content creators? Not that I know of. What kind of mask do you use? I wear a 3M Aura. They come individually packed in a flat. They're like flat, and they have the head straps that go around your head. They have the foam thing right here, and the back of the mask comes all the way back onto my goozle. So I find that those fit the best and offer a range of protection. I've been thinking about upgrading to a P100, but for most applications, for me at least, I think that an N95 3M N95 Aura is sufficient. And I'll like reuse the same mask for a few days in a row, or if I go to the doctor, I don't know. I pull a fresh mask, I go to the doctor, and then I throw that bitch away. I'm not doing multiple uses for one that I literally go into a healthcare environment for. But if I like wear it to go do my pickup order at the grocery store, or like I went to the gym today, like if I might wear it like a couple times if I go to the gym. But yeah, I don't know of any Salmation streamers or content creators off the top of my head, at least. It's tough because like, are there any content creators who put it very front and forward that they have both sets of genitalia? I'm sure that if I got bottom surgery and I was Salmation, by the way, Salmation means you have both genitals. It's like if you were born with a vagina, but you got a penis installed, but you kept your vagina, or if you were born with a penis and you get a vagina installed, but you get the method that is penile preserving and you keep your penis. That's what Salmation means. So, yeah. What pets do you have? Oh my God, I have such amazing news to share, which is that currently I don't have any pets. My cat died in December. After we like a few years ago. I mean, for the last like 10 years or whatever, we had 3 cats, and they died one by one of typically. I think all 3 of them passed from some kind of cardiovascular complications. But so my last cat, died in December, shortly before Christmas, and it was a big bummer. And so we've kind of been like ramping up to getting another cat. And so this weekend, actually, we're going to go to the Humane Society and get a new cat. We would love to get a kitten. So that's our plan, is we're going to get a kitten who, like, we're hoping we will be able to invest like 15 years of time into. Maybe later on we'll get a second cat. Like, I don't know. We haven't really thought that far ahead, but we're going to get a new cat this weekend. And the very first people who are going to get to see pictures or anything of this new cat are going to be on my Patreon. So if you want to join, like, for the $1 a month on patreon.com/Luxander, you'll get to see my new cat before anybody else does. I'm not going to be streaming this weekend because we're going to spend the whole weekend, getting comfortable around this cat, letting it get to know us, hopefully, kind of becoming friends. So I am not streaming this weekend. I will be completely offline Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I will be producing on Skep Talk on Monday. But yeah, it is exciting. Yeah. My cat is 23 years old. Oh my God. I have not personally had a cat that lived beyond like 15. So yeah. But so I'm hoping, like, okay, we're going to get a kitten, so I'll be able to start it off with wet food. Like, I did not know very much before, and I was poor. So my cat's, maybe being on a dry food diet was part of the problem. So we're going to get, hopefully, at least some supplementation with wet food, get, little toys and stuff. I'm hoping to grab a couple, like, I'm not sure when we're going to do that. I might ask my partner if I should just go tomorrow and go shopping for some like cat toys. But yeah, I'm gonna be very happy, very excited. Yes, R.I.P. Mitternacht. He was a good buddy. He was a good void boy, sweet little baby, good little friend. So I think that's like one of the only limitations I have. So my partner and I discussed this. We were like, do we have any preferences? Do we want a girl cat or a boy cat or anything? And I shared like that I don't feel particularly good about the idea of getting a black cat. Because I'm like, we just lost our black cat. It's not like a hard rule or anything. I was just like, I'm finding that I feel not good about the idea of getting another black cat. Not because there's anything wrong with them, but because that feels too much like replacing the cat that just died. So, yeah. But yeah, we're hoping for a cat that's probably like less than a year old. We're hoping to get a cat that has a sweet disposition, like a sweet kitty who wants to cuddle a lot or like wants to be in your lap, like an affectionate guy. Playful, obviously, if it's a kitten, we're expecting it to have like a playful kind of thing going on. Water is the problem. Cats don't drink enough water. No, yeah, I'm familiar. They don't have a good instinct for drinking water, so you will have to like supplement it in their food. Mitternacht did not like wet food at all. He would like lick it, but he wouldn't actually eat any of it. But he drank water constantly. Like just he'd get overstimulated because you'd be playing with him or petting him too much, and he would go drink water. So yeah, what book are you currently reading? Where did I put it? Is it over here? Where did I put my book? Over here. Right now I'm reading On Looking by Alexandra Horowitz. It's a book where the author goes on a walk around the neighborhood with different people. So the first walk was just her by herself, and she's like, this is what I saw when I went on a walk around my neighborhood. And then she takes her toddler and just kind of lets her toddler lead the walk. So, like, commenting on what the toddler notices. And then the next one is she meets up with a geologist and goes on a walk with a geologist it's a New York City neighborhood where they start out. And I don't know, I think she goes to other neighborhoods and stuff, but that's as far as I've gotten. I haven't gotten like super far in this book. That's one of the books that I'm reading right now. And I also I have a copy I'm borrowing from the library of George R. R. Martin's The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I was planning on like reading the whole thing and like reading ahead, but I find that I was really enjoying like not knowing exactly what happens. Like I had an idea of what was going to happen, but I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. And so I got to experience some of the twists and turns of the TV show that I wouldn't have been able to experience if I had read the books. So I am going to maybe like when the first season is over, I'll probably read, because this is all 3 novellas in one book. So I'll probably like read the first novella and then give the book back to the library. That's kind of my plan. And then I don't know when season 2 is going to come out. Season 2 will come out later, but I don't want to spoil it for myself. Or at least I haven't quite decided what to do with it. So that's what I'm reading right now. Just had my B-day. Happy birthday. Good going. I just finished a biography on Helen Keller. Nice. Was it a biography or her autobiography? Let the rescue pick the kitten. You don't choose your kid, you get what you get. Yeah, but like I have the option to choose. We rescued our cats in 2014. They were a sibling pair that had lived in a crate in the shelter for about 6 months. It's nice to get a bonded pair because they can soothe each other. Yeah, I like the idea of having a bonded pair. I'm just not ready for 2 cats right now. If we get 1 cat and it seems really lonely and we need to get another one, then sure. Let the rescue pick the kitten. That's crazy. The way that it works at the Humane Society is that you go in and you walk through like the kennels and you kind of look at them and see which ones you might want to meet, and then you meet that one by like setting up a meet and greet. So basically, I guess a lot of it is going to be dependent on like which one looks cute, or maybe like which one comes to the front of the cage and wants to interact with you, kind of thing. And I'm hoping that maybe we can ask, like, are there any that are noteworthy that like want affection and everything? So that's kind of the plan. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Try the lump tuna food. Purina Pro Plan is a great brand. So I found out, talking about cat food, pet food, that... So I found out that the United States does not have food safety standards for pet food. Like, we simply do not have any regulations regarding food safety standards for pet food. Like, I'm pretty certain that we don't, or at least not very robust ones, which is why, you know, every few years you get like these big lawsuits or recalls of pet food, because they're not okay. You know how like the USDA literally goes into places and inspects them? Well, America doesn't do that for pet food. There is no inspection. You just kill an animal and then have a lawsuit and have a recall. So there is no like system by which to make sure that the product is a good product. So I have a couple of brands that I will be looking at that are mostly like, they're either imported or they are at least owned by someone outside the country. Like we had previously been buying First Mate brand food, which Demon Mama actually recommended to me, because it's a Canadian company. Canada has food safety standards for cat food and pet food in general. So that's my plan for at least like getting wet food. Like I don't think Purina, I don't think that that's a brand that has food safety standards. Social fit is important, not 100% required in all situations, but makes acclimatization way easier. Yeah, I think if you go to the shelter and the cat seems to like you before you even leave the shelter, like that's the goal. The goal is to have a cat who's like, hey, I kind of like both of you. So we're gonna do that and, scope them out and see, and then do a meet and greet, and hopefully it goes well. Yeah, Purina's had recalls before. Pretty sure in Canada that pet food has to be human safe grade because starving people might need to eat it in an emergency. Interesting. People here even bring dog food when they go hiking as an emergency food since you won't accidentally snack on it, but in an emergency it'll keep you alive. Yeah, totally. I use Blue Buffalo. I'm not sure it's great, but my dogs were allergic to everything else. I remember Blue Buffalo being a good brand, but it's been years since I did that research and like settled on which food I was gonna buy. Like the one of the brands of wet food that I want to grab is Weruva, which is it's like a Thai company actually, or Vietnamese maybe. It's like I think an Asian owned company. Or maybe that's where it was originally. But like I've bought Weruva food before, and you open it and it's literally like shreds of chicken and like pieces of pumpkin and peas or whole peas in there. I like the idea of making my own pet food, but the problem that you run into with that is that these wet foods that you buy, even if you can see like shredded chicken and stuff in there, they also have like nutrition powders that get mixed in there because cats have specific nutritional needs that won't be met by just eating canned chicken effectively. So that's like the one thing that I don't feel comfortable with. I guess maybe there is a powder that gets sold that's like, yo, this is the supplemental powder, and you could maybe just add that to any of their food. But yeah, it's definitely more expensive to buy wet food, but it's, worth it if you get more years with your buddy and you have fewer vet problems, especially if you get a male cat and you want them to not have kidney problems. Oh shit, Blue Buffalo dog food caused intestinal bleeding in one of my dogs about 6 years ago. Couldn't narrow down the issue until the food was switched out. Holy shit, I'm so sorry. Hello, Jenna. Hello, hello. I use Hill's Science Dog and Cat Food because all my kids are on special diets. I thought that Hill's was one of those companies that also had like a recall and lawsuits. Yeah. First Mate is also grain-free. That's the kibble we feed them, though they eat mostly wet food. Nulo, Weruva, Ziwi Peak, Cat Person, Best Feline Friend, which is also by Weruva, and we like Tiki Cat Mousses. Yeah, Tiki Cat is another one that I've heard of. Okay, I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this comment so that I have it for later. First Mate is grain-free. Yeah, it's probably stale by now, but I do have, like I literally still have some of the First Mate brand food, but I think that I want to, first of all, get rid of it because it's probably too stale by now, and maybe switch to the salmon-based one we're probably going to do a mixture of dry and wet food. So But so many cats are like allergic to chicken, aren't they? Like a huge number of cats are allergic to chicken. My dog with the intestinal bleeding is still going strong at age 15, so it wasn't, quote, that bad. He just had a real rough time for a bit. Yeah, that's tough. My cats won't eat blue buffalo. They want to eat junk food and stuff off the floor. True. They're fucking little goblins, aren't they? I have dogs rather than cats, but I use a fresh food service, currently Farmer's Dog. It's pricey but human grade. Not sure if any of them do cat food. I'll have to look into it, yeah. You could always try a single can of chicken-based food to test. True, yeah. I love that I make enough money now that I get to really spoil a cat. You know, that like if every single day I get to give a cat wet food, like I have not always been in a position to be able to give that, and it just fills my heart so much that like I know so much more now than when I first became a cat owner. I mean, like I grew up with cats, and you know, my family was poor and my family didn't particularly educate themselves on like how to be good pet parents. So I'm like, the fact that I know so much now that I'll be able to, you know, I'll be able to afford taking my cat to the vet like every year for blood work and stuff. Like I didn't used to do that with Mitternacht because he was clearly so upset by being driven, and I also didn't have a vet that like insisted. And the vet that I took him to most recently was like, I kind of insist that we do annual blood work, so that I can afford to like spoil and really love, and like I work at home, so I have the opportunity to like spend a lot of loving time with a cat. Hi Abby, yes, this is the Lux from the line. It's so interesting having that be the dichotomy, because I've been a streamer and a video creator for many, many, many years before I started at the line. But yes, this is Luxander from the line. Anyone watch the Winter Olympics? No, I'm not really a sports person. But I'm so happy for you people who are. That's great. Isn't it so fucking great to know how to be a good pet guardian and also have the means to not have to skimp on their care? Yes, exactly. I might even look into like different cat litter options, which I hadn't even really thought of until this moment. I usually get Tidy Cats brand clumping cat litter because I like being able to like, you know, I usually pawn off the responsibility onto someone else. Like I grew up being the one who was made to clean the cat boxes. So I'll have like my younger sibling do it or have my partner do it, but I like that you can scoop out the cat pee part. But maybe I should switch to like a natural one that you just throw away once a week. I don't know how expensive that is. I haven't seen any of the Olympics, but I did see the dog that ran into the middle of an event. I missed that. That's so sad that I missed that. What? Hold on. Dog at Olympics 2026. I was thinking about you the other day. I just realized I'm a trans man. I prefer the name Andrew. Congratulations, Andrew. That's cool. That's so funny that you prefer the name Andrew and you know me from the line because you know Andrew from New Jersey. So that's funny. I'm not trying to say that your name is bad, but it's just very ironic. But hey, congratulations on realizing that you're trans. That's so exciting. Sending you love from Portland. Have a good day. Thank you, Elliot. Sending you love from the Portland area. Cat litter very expensive. Yeah, no, I know. Someone was saying that like having a cat is more expensive over its lifetime than having a dog, and that was the reason. And I'm like, I could see that, like, because your cat is going to the bathroom inside 100% of the time. The crystal litter is a game changer, but unfortunately, I don't think it's the most environmentally friendly option. Yeah. Before the fire, we used hardball litter. Hardball litter. It feels like half the community is from Portland. Listen, should I do a meet and greet someday? I don't really like the idea of doing meet and greets because I hate to publicize my location. But I feel like, maybe at some point I'll be like, I'll be at this convention and maybe you will see me. Maybe you will see me or not. I've had people recognize me in public before. It's just usually like at the Renaissance Festival or something like that. Hugster Duck, great name, says, how long have you been part of the line? I have been part of the line. Well, I was a guest numerous times before they brought me on as an actual like regular host. I actually think that I was a guest far more times than most people are a guest. But if they're going to be regularly on, I think that I was called upon numerous times before becoming like an official member. But I become an official member. Oh God, when was it? I want to say it was in 2023, like late 2023, that I became a host, like a regular host. When it became clear that Katie was not coming back. And then I became a producer for the line in September of last year. So I am now like a very integrated member of the line. I'm, privy to conversations of the production team that some of the other hosts and stuff aren't. So that's kind of exciting. Yeah, it's been fun. It's nice to have something stable and that pays quite well. What is the line? Haven't been online that much lately. Sure, let me show you. So, if you've ever heard of the Atheist Experience, maybe you've heard of the Atheist Experience, where Matt Dillahunty used to do a call-in show for the atheist community of Austin, and then they expanded out into like Talk Heathen and these other shows and stuff. We are in no way affiliated with them. I'm just setting you up for potentially understanding what the thing is that we do. So what we do is we have a call-in show 5 days a week, typically. This is the YouTube channel of the line, at Q&A line. We have live shows every weekday, or not every weekday, from Sunday through Thursday. Sometimes we do Friday and Saturdays, but those are more incidental, like because we feel like it. And so Mondays we have Skep Talk, which is like a science-oriented call-in show. Chewed Gum is, so all of these are atheism-based or skepticism-based shows where all of our hosts are non-religious, and that's the focus. Every caller we ask, are you a theist or an atheist or agnostic or whatever? Thursdays we have the Transatlantic call-in show, so all of us are trans atheists who we focus on the trans issue on that show. Chewed Gum focuses on like women's issues, and so that's what the line is. We are a call-in show network, humanist. The company is socialist, and everybody on there is politically to the left. I don't know that we have anybody who really fully identifies as like a liberal or a Democrat. Mostly, I mean, we have some liberal-ish hosts, but most of us identify as leftists or socialists or something along that scale. And yeah, along with that, there's Jimmy Snow in the line, which is Jimmy Snow's channel, where he used to do Mr. Atheist, if you remember Dear Mr. Atheist from back in the day. And over here, we do more politics-oriented live streams, and that's usually only like 3 days a week, although we're probably going to increase that at some point. Typically, I am on this show on Thursdays after the Transatlantic show. So I basically, like, every Thursday I'm doing this now, and I'm not on the Transatlantic show every Thursday. But for this, we do like debating MAGA, talking about abortion, talking about socialism, capitalism, like having much more politically oriented debates rather than where the line itself focuses more on the religion conversations, which there is a lot of overlap, talking about Christian nationalism, right? Like there is like a clear overlap. So we do have potentially political conversations on the line as well. But it's just like a slight shift in focus. So the Christian nationalism allows us to kind of hit both things on both channels. Forrest is how I found the line. Fuck yeah. I like Forrest. He's very cool. I'm glad that I get to call him my friend. Yeah. I like Line Era Lux a lot. Thank you. I found you back in the day through Demon Mama and Vosh, but it was so much intercommunal drama back then, it was stressful. Yeah. I'm friends with Demon Mama. I've been friendly with Vosh. I want to go to Seattle sometime and like have lunch with him or something. I've like gone up to Seattle once, and it was just to see my friend Dizzy, and like I brought my younger sibling with me, so I didn't end up seeing as many people as I would have liked because I brought my younger sibling and I was trying to keep it like a relatively short visit. But yeah, I'm like, I want to have lunch with Gayfesh and Demon Mama because we do a podcast together and we've never met in person. And I would love to have lunch with Vosh sometime. Who else do I know who lives in Seattle? My friend Silent, of course, I would love to meet up with sometime. Yeah, I just haven't. It's a fucking not insignificant drive to get from the Portland area all the fucking way up to Seattle. And I found out that it's not a particularly scenic drive. I mean, maybe if I were to, well, I was going to say maybe if I were to take a more coastal, but then I'd have to go over that giant bridge in Astoria, and that kind of terrifies me. But the I-5 corridor is like not particularly scenic. There's just trees on both sides of the highway. Sometimes they have on guest hosts, and when none of the good ones are available, they call me. That's true. I don't actually know what the decisions were as far as like we brought on a new permanent host, Riverboat Jack. I wasn't privy to all those decisions, so I'm sorry, Mama. You are a guest. Is the Astoria Bridge one of those super high up bridges? It's just so long. Like if you okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can find like a good. So first of all, yes, it is like a tall bridge, but then it gets shorter. But that's so weird. But like, it's. Let me see if I can hold on. Let me see if I can pull something up here. Columbia River map. Can you show me the Columbia River close up? You want a scenic drive, head straight to the coast, then drive that all the way up and around the Olympic Peninsula. Didn't a huge part of the coastal highway like just wash out in a landslide situation? Okay, here. This will kind of show what I want to see. Okay, open a new tab, please. Open image in new tab. Thank you. Okay, so I want to show you this. This is the Columbia River. Okay, down here, this is Oregon. Okay, everything south of this river is Oregon, and then up here, this is Washington. So here's the thing: is that where is this? So this is Portland. So from Portland up to Vancouver, this bridge here already kind of feels a little bit scary. I don't like this bridge. I actually don't really like driving anywhere in this area right here. Don't like it. Not a fan. Not a fan. Don't enjoy that. Let's zoom in a little bit. Right here. Not a huge fan. Don't like it. Can you see my cursor? I hope so. So this is a big bridge and I don't like it. It scares me. Over here, this is Astoria. Okay? This right over here, this is Astoria. And the bridge goes up across here. The bridge goes all the way across this. So you kind of see how maybe that's a little fucking scary. Bridges are scary. I don't like them. I'm not a fan. I don't enjoy. Look at this. So I'm like, so I just told you this right over here. This is a scary fucking long bridge. Hold on. Come on. Come here. Come here. Where are we? Portland? Okay. So the Portland to Vancouver bridge right here. This is a scary long bridge that I have driven over already. And this is the amount of distance that this Astoria Megler bridge covers. That's terrifying. Okay? I would love to visit Astoria, and I will at some point, but bridges are scary. Okay? It's terrifying. And especially in a place where we have fucking earthquakes. Like, ah! As a kid, I always played a game where I would hold my breath when my parents crossed bridges. I would not do that for the Astoria Bridge. Fucking no kidding. That's a 4-mile bridge. That's too long. That's too long to be driving over water. I'm in a metal can that weighs thousands of pounds. I don't like it. Yeah, I'm certain the big one won't hit while you're crossing it. Yeah, I bet. That's like, bridges are fascinating, but I just do not like being on them. There's a part of I-5 in Portland that is like, I don't know why, but it's like a skyscraper. It's so high up. And I was clenching my entire asshole the one time I had to drive over it. I was like, I hate this. Plus, the Astoria Bridge looks like half collapsed and just floating. Listen, if so I did see. Okay, so looking at the Astoria Bridge, I'm just picking a photo of it. If it's like floating, I honestly have way less issue with that. So it starts off up high. I'm not sure which direction this is looking from. If this is south and then looking north, but this part down here, if that's like floating, I take far less issue with this part than I do with this part. I don't like this part. This part right here, not a fan. Don't like it. I don't appreciate it. Nothing. I don't like it. And then it goes down and it's like, okay, well, this part I guess is fine. I'd have less issue with that. I think this is more of a chance of staying together structurally. Maybe that's Delulu. Maybe I'm delusional and all of this stuff, all these triangles makes it way safer. It's been a while since I've played Polybridge, but that scares me. I'm pretty sure that's south into Oregon. Okay. Oh yeah, the land on the left side, that's further inland, Oregon. Okay, rather than like that being where the ocean is. That would make sense. Ember says, I used to have to tell myself, it has been here this long. The odds of it collapsing while I'm on it are basically 0. That's true, I guess. I was like watching The Last of Us, and they're like driving across the country, and everything's all fucked up, and like none of the bridges have been maintained in a really long time. It's not a floating bridge. It's the second longest truss bridge in the world. You like bridges. I'm going to pick your autism brain for a second there. Does it make a difference? Like the part, like I said, I don't like this part. This part looks fine. Even if it's not a floating bridge, frankly, I'm like more okay with this part over here. Am I Delulu? Is this part actually safer? The part with all the triangles? But yeah, I was like spooked. I was watching The Last of Us and they're like driving over a bridge and I was like, "Oh no. That's bad because it hasn't been maintained in such a long time." And even if there's not cars driving over it on a regular basis, it's like still subject to weather damage, like wind and stuff. More triangles equals more better. That's my understanding of how engineering works. The one across Lake Pontchartrain is one I've never been on but know of. That one's scary. Oh no. Am I gonna spook? I'm gonna spook Lake Pontchartrain Bridge. It's in Louisiana and it's one of the world's longest continuous bridges over water. It is the world's longest continuous bridge over water, spanning 23 miles to connect New Orleans with Mandeville. It's one of these. It's one of these like big long flat ones. All right, it's like it's not totally flat to the water, but it's like not a very tall bridge. That's terrible. That's terrible. Oh, okay. I do not have bridge autism. I'm just checking Wikipedia. Okay, okay. Yes, episode 3 of The Last of Us season 1 was amazing. It was incredible. That's not the end of the gay shit. If you haven't seen season 2, there's more gay shit that happens. No spoilers. The one in Louisiana is so long that you reach a point in the middle where you can't see land in front of or behind you. Listen, I don't like water. I think is ultimately what I'm learning is I don't like water. I mean, it's fine. Like, I'm fine with like beaches. I like beaches and coasts and like, what is the word for that? But on a river. What's the word for like the edges of like a river or a lake? I don't think it's beach. I don't know the word. But there's something about like the middle of water that's just terrible. I've swam in the Pacific and the Atlantic. Again, beach is fine. I've been in the Atlantic before. Sure, that's a good word. Embankment, also good. Okay, those are good. Riverbank, also a good word. Yes. I don't like the middle part. Yeah, I'll fucking get in the water and like, I mean, when I was a kid, like, yeah, I got the world's gnarliest sunburn one time because my mom was like hanging out on the beach and her boyfriend was like putting me on his shoulders as the waves would like break over us, and it was a fun time. It was great. Florida, it was great. I haven't swam in the Pacific. I don't know exactly if I plan to do that either, but I'm fine with beach. Beach and bank, those are good places. But the middle, no. No, thank you. If I'm on a really good boat, okay, I can do it on a boat. Like I'm not gonna get in the water off the boat. Riverbank Jack, fucking true. Is it not seeing land? It's not seeing land only. That's definitely part of the problem. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Okay. I did this. I shared this in one of my friends' servers not too long ago to try to explain. Let's see if I can find it again. It's not perfect. What? This one. This? I hate this. I don't know if it's in this video, but there's like part of this video that I've seen before where the camera sweeps down and out into the open water and it makes my stomach clench. Like, I fucking hate it. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not okay. It's not cool. It's not all right. And here's how I know it's a phobia, because I do think that like a healthy amount of fear is okay for the ocean, but the reason why I know that it is actually a phobia is that um I discovered this fear in World of Warcraft, because in World of Warcraft there's like the coasts, and you can I play a druid which has a shape-shifting form where you don't have to worry about breathing underwater. um and I one time I was just curious to like swim out into the like to the edge to where like you couldn't go any further, and it my stomach clenched, like, even though I knew that nothing could spawn there, and I knew that nothing was going to happen to me, and I didn't have to worry about running out of air or anything, but like looking off into the empty distance as it just gets darker and darker until you can't see anything anymore, I'm like, it doesn't make me feel like I'm going to throw up exactly, but it's very close to that, where I'm like, oh my God, this is not where human beings are meant to be. I'm not like, that's not where I'm supposed to be. I do not like have the physiology for being in the water for extended periods of time. I like swimming pools. I swam in lake. My granddad had a house at the Lake of the Ozarks when I was a kid. That's fine-ish. Like, I mean, also I was a kid and I didn't fucking know any better. So like maybe this is a thing that has developed in my adulthood. No. No, 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 I say to the ocean. Oh, man. Thanks, everybody, for being here through my thalassophobia crash out. Driving the Pontchartrain Bridge has been known to cause severe highway hypnosis. Is that like velocitation, but like even more intense because of the sameness of everything? So what I'm hearing is you're never going to be my Subnautica 2 buddy. Listen, I enjoyed watching Markiplier play Subnautica because it was very, very much like watching someone play a horror game, because Mark also has thalassophobia. There was an Unus Annus episode where they went out on a boat in the Pacific Ocean, and Mark, put on like a floaty, what the fuck are they called? A life vest, and like got into the ocean to like, he was challenging himself, like they were challenging each other to do things that they would never want to do during Unus Annus, and that was a thing and like Mark did it and he fucking hated it. He was like, don't like this, hate this, not a fan, don't want to be here. And I'm like, I felt that so intensely. Yes, I saw Iron Lung, it was incredible. I want to watch it again, especially with the subtitles on. But I saw it in theaters and it was a very cool experience, and I'm so excited. It grossed almost 50 million, or like maybe even over $50 million by the end of it being in theaters, and it was on a $3 million budget. I'm like, damn, that's very cool. Mark wants to go to space more than anything. Is it to get away from all the water? Yeah, maybe. It's interesting how those are, they seem quite similar to each other, but they're on like what opposite ends of like a spectrum, like space, fear of space versus fear of the ocean. Do scenes of Eva in space also give you that feeling? EVA in space? I don't know what that is. I need to get rid of some of these tabs before my internet starts to kill itself. Extravehicular activity. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm not a huge fan. It definitely doesn't churn my stomach in the same way, though. If an astronaut is just out in space, I'm like, be tethered to something. I would definitely want to be like hooked up to something. Like, does this give me the same feeling? Hold on. Well, why is that so small? Why Wikipedia? Why is it so small? Like, I'm not like a fan. I'm not like, yeah, that looks fun. But it you know, so I think that part of the ocean problem is that there are things in it. Like, there's stuff in the ocean, and the dying is so much more immediate. Like, if you're in space and you're in your spacesuit and you drift off, like, probably the thing that's going to eventually happen is you're just going to run out of oxygen. I'm actually really into the idea of, so actually one of the first VR experiences I ever had was we went to an arcade, a VR arcade. It was like brand new at the time, and one of the things was you could go into like space, and I put the hand things behind my back and like experienced myself as like incorporeal in space, and that was a very cool experience. Actually, it was something I very specifically wanted to do with the VR experience, and it was very cool. So I mean, maybe that's not, maybe I don't have like this fear of space. There's like pressure on your body when you're in the ocean, and your limbs can't move very fast. Like your muscles, like you use the same amount of muscle and it just doesn't move as fast or like as far, because there's all this resistance, and there are other things in the ocean that have optimized their physiology for like being fast and like scuba diving is so soothing to me for the most part. So I would go scuba diving through like coral reef nearish to the coast, and if I can like see the top of the water and the below, like that seems like a controlled environment that I would be willing to do. The ocean has things that will eat you. Thank you. Real Dr. Obvious. Great name for that observation. Exactly. There's a problem for me. It's a big openness. My mind produces the monsters. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I remember hearing about that fuzzy logic, because they also talked about it on their 5-year anniversary, the anniversary of deleting the channel, 5-year anniversary live stream. Ethan mentioned that with Unis Honest, since they deleted the channel before the end of the month, YouTube wouldn't pay them for like the 1 billion views they got in the last month. It's pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up. You can push against water. It's wild once you get the hang of it. Things evolved for that crazy fast. Like, I've seen a top-down video of a shark, and like, you know, you can see the shark and you can see empty water like in all directions of the shark, and then a fucking orca comes in from off screen, zoom, and just like bashes the shark, and I'm like, fuck, dude. I know that orcas don't hunt people. Like, that's not the problem that I'm having. Orcas are cool, but in fact, I think that we should initiate diplomatic relations with orcas. You know, like, they have repeatedly tried to give people gifts of food and stuff, and I think that they want to be friends, and I think we should make them our allies in diplomacy. But yeah, it's ocean's scary. You got big freaky stuff down there. You got the big squids. Don't like it. Space has things that will eat you too. Technically, everything is in space, including Earth. Therefore, sharks are in space. I hate you. You're a fucking nerd. Yes, and orcas hunt billionaires and or yachts. Yeah, that makes them even cooler. Can't wait for them to get a hold of J.K. Rowling's yacht. Ethan thinks that the YouTube not giving Unis Honest their money was retaliation because Mark was going to do a series for YouTube Originals but refused to shoot it during COVID. Yeah, that is... Yeah, I seem to recall. They're like, it seems a little sussy-wussy Like YouTube was a little bit annoyed with me at the time. I wonder if we were to swim with the Puget Sound orcas and wear a salmon on our hat, if they'd be like, oh, sweet, they know the meme, or if it'd be like, do you mock us? Like, maybe it's a deeply held religious practice and we would be doing some kind of blasphemy by wearing the salmon on our head, you know? Who knows? You should do a tier list of dangerous places people go for fun. Mountains, spelunking, ocean, etc. That could be fun. Later, Mama Meffy. Have a good night. I feel like caves are definitely up there in terms of like, no, 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 no. No, I will not do that. No, no, no. People who do that are stupid. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Caves are bad. No, 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 no. Not nearly as bad as ocean, but still no, 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 no. Fauna says, I think my fear is less being eaten and more of just being touched by things I can't see. And in space, I don't feel like that'll happen. That's a good point. I mean, I think the fear of being touched by something that you don't know what it is like because there's a level of mystery. Is that something that will bite me? Is that something that could sting me? Is it something that will wrap itself around me and not let go? Have you thought about getting a P.O. box so we can send you cool stuff for the mystery box? I have not considered getting a P.O. box since I moved. I did have a P.O. box for a short period of time. You will see this necklace right here. Mama Meffy made it for me and sent it to my P.O. box. That was in 2023. And I haven't had one since then. So maybe. I don't know. It costs money. So I haven't really thought about it in a while. Hi, I'm stupid. Put me in a cave. Have fun. Getting trapped in a very narrow tunnel I can't crawl back out of is a new fear I've unlocked. Yeah, no, totally. My completely unsubstantiated headcanon is that the salmon hat is like a ceremonial thing when they pass leadership from matriarch to matriarch. Yeah. I could see that being the case. I would have to like look in much more closely like which individuals have been doing it. I did want to be a marine biologist at one point. I don't know if this is surprising to anyone. Maybe it would be. I don't think I knew that I had thalassophobia. There were a bunch of different science things that I was really interested in as a kid. I think I wanted to specialize in dolphins, which somebody just mentioned dolphins. I once went tubing in the ocean, bad idea first of all, and fell off the tube. Everyone lost their minds on the boat, and there were fins around me. Excuse me, I thought I was going to get got by a shark, but it was a bunch of dolphins. That's terrifying also because dolphins are assholes. I feel like dolphins will just beat you up for fun. I don't actually know if that's true. I've been in a helicopter crash, a lot more common than you think. No, I get it. Helicopters are so unstable. Like you've got the one blade on the top and then you've got like the stabilizing blade on the back and they're just like this, just super unstable. Oh, here's a little tip from me to you, by the way, a little rhetorical tip. If you're ever talking to someone who's like, well, what the fuck do you know about such and such whatever? Like I was having an argument recently with someone about ICE and law enforcement. And, they're like, oh, I guess you know better. Like, hey, I don't have to know how to fly a helicopter to know that if I see one in a tree, someone has seriously fucked up. That's a little from me to you if you ever want to use that one. If you haven't heard it before, like I don't have to, I don't have to be a law enforcement officer or I don't have to be a like lawyer or an expert to know that if you're shooting someone in the face who is in their car basically doing nothing, I don't have to be an expert to know that you've made a grave mistake, that someone has fucked up seriously, and that there's a deep need for accountability. So yeah, I don't have to fucking know how to pilot a helicopter to know if I see one caught in a tree, somebody fucked up like miserably. No. Byron says, I just led a creature what felt like miles in oblivion, only for the NPC to not recognize the creature I brought her, and then some guards came and killed it. That's terrible. Dolphins have sexually assaulted people? Wait, what? I don't, it's like, do they understand what they're doing? Do dolphins have like the same complexity of a brain as orcas? Like, do they, you know how there's like a chart for cats that's like they either understand crime or don't, and they either do crime or don't? Like, some cats don't understand crime and do crime. Like, they don't know that what they're doing is bad. Or like some cats like do understand crime and choose not to. Or some of them do crimes and you can tell that they understand that what they're doing is a crime. And, you know, crime. I'm using some exaggeratory language there, but dolphins have bigger brains than we do. They know what they're doing. Bastards. They've tried to like hump people. Damn, that's crazy. Dolphins understand crime and do crime. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Like, I think they'll just beat you up. Do dolphins ever beat people up? That's a question I have. Do dolphins... Oh my god. Do dolphins attack humans? Sure, yeah. Fucking... This article from Live Science 2024 says, sexually frustrated dolphin behind spate of attacks on divers. This has been a fascinating conversation today. There's a researcher, I believe in the 70s, I could be wrong about the year, but they had a physical sexual relationship with a dolphin while they were doing research stuff. That's terrible. Don't like that. Dolphins have complex language, like with a grammar structure similar to other animals like elephants and non-human apes. Yeah. We have some frustrating conversations on the line sometimes. Were you guys there where there was a caller who, I think it was, I want to say it was Friday. No, hold on. It was Sunday. Yeah. It was with John and Owen, and they were like, I think being able to be moved emotionally by art is a uniquely human trait that animals can't do. And it was a really frustrating conversation. Because I'm like, how the fuck do you know that other animals don't make art? First of all, like, I'm like, I literally know more about this subject than either John or Owen, because they just don't have the particular interests that have maybe brought this stuff to their attention before. They're both like computer guys. But elephants paint one another. They have creativity. Like, they paint. And like, when a bird builds a nest, why are you not willing to call that creativity? If they decorate it with certain colors and like they build it in a certain way, and like females will look at those nests and decide whether or not they like them. Like, decide whether or not they want to be a mate. And like, we brought up the birds thing because I was like in the producer chat, I was like, please, for the love of God, somebody bring up the birds and the elephants. And this guy was like, oh, well, whatever, you know, they're just horny. Like, how the fuck do you know that animals can be horny? How do you know that they can be horny? Why are you assuming that we have that in common? Sorry, I'm yelling. Why are you assuming we have that in common and not being emotionally moved? Like, if a male is like dancing and he's like, hey, baby, and like the females will sometimes still turn them down. Like, doing the dance doesn't mean that the female is going to become a partner. And it's not even just fucking. Some animals who do this partner for life. So it's not like, how the fuck, oh my God, it was like the world's most frustrating conversation. I was so upset by it. And it's like he like defined art as something that only humans can do. So like, okay, but like they didn't bring up the elephants painting, I don't think, or they brought it up and they didn't go very far into it. But like, elephants paint one another. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember reading that crows will like bring things to the dead bodies of their crow friends. Like, animals understand death. Animals grieve. Animals have rituals that they observe when members die. Like, elephants, I mean, like, animals do weird shit like put salmons on their head. That's fashion. Is fashion not a form of art? If I kill a bunch of birds and make a cool feather hat, which is why killing birds is deeply fucking illegal in the United States, by the way. It's a felony. Like, it's a federal felony, I'm pretty sure, to possess parts of a bird. Unless it's a specific, like, there's a very short list of birds that you're allowed to own body parts of. Elephants paint abstract. If you see an elephant painting a specific object that you can recognize, it's because they've been trained in that specific action. That's good to know, and also reinforces my position that they are painting in a creative way. I didn't really... But also, elephants dance. They seem to dance to music. Like, they respond to music. So, like, how is that? How can you define that as not being moved by art? Like, to have an emotional reaction. Don't screw with crows. That's a multi-generational beef you're about to start. No, listen, actually, thank you for reminding me, because I need to check whether my local store has unshelled peanuts. Because here's how you become friends with crows. You start by giving them unshelled peanuts, and you cover those with cayenne pepper so that you can put that out there, and the squirrels won't eat them, but the crows will. My partner and I genuinely want to do this, like have an offering place where crows can come get, like, because they can't taste the capsaicin. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this later. Maybe the store that I usually go to doesn't have them, but maybe some other store locally has them. But yeah, I genuinely want to make friends with crows. Because they will, yeah, they can recognize you and they can communicate to the others who you are and what you look like. Yeah, that's circular definition. Only humans can produce art because we decided only humans can do it. Well, it was two things he was saying. He was saying, one, that that animals can't be moved by art. And also that art, and this was kind of I think a mistake. I don't think he meant to say it, but when they asked him to define art, he was like, it's when people, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh, wait, stop. Why are you limiting it to people? You're just saying that only people can do creative things. I saw, let me see if I can pull this up again, actually. Dog crashes 2026 Winter Olympics cross country race with a sprint to the finish. Okay, that's fucking hilarious. Hold on. There was this like Reddit post. Let me see if I can get it to load up here. Apparently, in my absence, my husband has hung cat-level wall art, so sophisticated. And here's a cat staring at it. I seem to remember there being one of these that was like, one of my two cats passed away, and we hung art around at cat level, and then the cat is staring at it. It's like, how can you possibly say that animals don't care about art? or they don't look at it, or they can't have an emotional reaction to it. If we know that animals can have an emotional reaction to anything, like what the guys were saying is that, you can perceive that like dogs can be proud of themselves or of their puppies or whatever. So if we have evidence that animals can have an emotional reaction, we have evidence that animals can partake in creativity by building beautiful nests or painting or whatever, then it stands to reason that they could have an emotional reaction to a creative thing. It's like every few years, there's some new news story about animals using tools, and everybody acts like it's fucking groundbreaking. And it's like, how many times are we gonna have to go through this rigmarole where like we think of ourselves as unique animals in that we use tools? But I literally just saw videos and photographs of a cow using a broom to scratch its own ass. I've seen videos of crows using sticks to grab things from from deeper inside a bottle. We've seen other apes use tools. So like, how often do we have to go over this? We are not unique in the animal kingdom, whether it's creativity or sexuality or tool use or anything. Like, we are not special. And like, is this our ego? Is this our sort of like hubris that human beings have like this need to feel like we are better than other animals? I don't get it. I know that there are some Christian like motivations, some religious motivations that, God gave humans dominion over animals and therefore we have souls or something, and we are not animals because we are above animals. But like, I think that caller, someone asked earlier, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of on a roll here, so I didn't answer your question, but I'm pretty sure that caller was an atheist. He was like, I'm just curious about this idea that like art can be related to faith, and that humans are unique in their producing and being emotionally moved by art. Forrest puts it that all animals have these skills, and we are only unique in our proficiency. Totally, yes. Are deer afraid of crows? I don't know. That's an interesting question. Ugh. Heck, we know that animals can even learn our languages. Dogs obey commands. Parrots can literally talk. Yeah, it's clear that like some cats can understand language. Like one time I was my cats have always been inside cats, but we did let them go out. Like, we had an apartment once that had like a concrete patio out front. And so we would let them go out on the patio for short periods of supervised time. And, they'd like flop around and get themselves all dirty and stuff. And one time a car drove by and one of my cats like ran toward the door, and I opened it for them. But as I opened it, I said, "It's okay." And the cat like changed its mind about going inside. And it could be circumstantial or whatever, but it seemed as though I was like, "Hey, it's okay." And the cat understood me and was not like freaked out anymore. Like a car just drove by and that was it, like in the parking lot. To be honest, you want to be like a Disney princess who can summon cute woodland creatures, only you're an NB dragon and they're a murder of crows. True. Also, am I the queen of crows? We have those videos of animals using button translators. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, cat crimes need to be supervised. There's not one single thing humans do that other animals don't also do, except possibly war. Ants do war, though. Ants will completely destroy one another. My mom has been spreading pepper flakes on all her bulb planters to keep the squirrels away. True. Animals can be moved by art. Have you ever seen a parrot dance to a song? True. That's also true. Animals can't be moved by art. Meanwhile, over in the corner, a bird opines about the groundies not appreciating the craftsmanship of their nest. I also saw an article recently about how there have been recorded instances of birds alone. So a bird is by itself and it's tweeting or singing, but at a decibel volume that's so low that no other birds around it would reasonably be able to hear. So birds sing to themselves. Just genuinely, like, that was an insane conversation to have to sit here and not be on the host thing. And I'm like, I'm trying to let the hosts do their thing. I'm trying not to interrupt. And like, I'll post in the producer chat. I'll be like, hey, this is a point that I would love it if someone would make, please. If you were watching and you saw John say something about screaming and peeing and pooping my pants, that was, I had posted a couple things that were like, hey, elephants paint, and hey, birds dance. And then no one had said anything or responded to my messages. So I was like, please tell him about the elephants or I'm going to cry and scream and poop my pants. And he kind of had a dyslexic moment where he skipped from one line to the next and started reading my line about crying and screaming and pooping my pants. And it was very, very funny. John was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, I'm laughing so hard. It was so funny. Oh, God. Ravens being able to both use tools and to create easily identifiable social connections with humans is what I've been able to use to convince some people who are like that. However, that dude seemed to be obtuse for the sake of it. True. Yeah, the singing to itself is so fucking cute, dude. It's so cute. Is the bird practicing or some sort of self-soothing? Either way. I mean, part of the problem is that we describe these things differently just because of our human bias, right? Like a bird builds a nest that is not only structurally sound, but is beautiful. Like it's decorated with like a lot of colorful things, you know? And what we call that mating behavior, instead of like an artistic creation. But it's like humans also make things to impress potential mates. You know, we wear clothes that look fancy or convey a certain idea to attract a mate, and we style our hair and we wear perfume, and like we do all of these things that involve creation, that involve creativity and like skillfully putting something together. I mean, hell, men used to build houses and say, hey, I'm building this house so that I have a place for my woman to live. But we call that artistic as opposed to strictly a mating behavior. So it's just literally a bias of how we describe things. Yeah. So like people might do dance because they're trying to get someone to be attracted to them and fuck them tonight. Is that creative or is that just a mating ritual? When a bird does it, is that creative or is it just a mating ritual? If a bird sings or makes some kind of call to attract a mate, and some of the others of the species are interested and some aren't, like, human beings write love songs exactly like Byron says. Like, so is writing a love song not is that not actually art? Is that just a mating ritual? There's an inherent bias in how we describe all of these things. During that call, the chat was full of cat guardians talking about how their cats display clear preferences for different music genres. Yeah, I would love to experiment with that. I don't think I've ever had a cat who like seemed to pay attention to music, but I also hate listening to music most of the time, so I don't listen to music out loud. Anyway. Sorry if you've answered this or if it's too personal. Hi, Carve Rest. were you raised religious or ever hold beliefs along those lines? I So I definitely was taken to church when I was a kid. I mostly saw church as, because I was a kid, like, so I did Sunday school and things. I mostly saw it as an opportunity to hang out with my cousin. And, like, I was kind of accustomed to being controlled by my mother. So I didn't really mind necessarily, like, having to sit quietly in the pews during the small amounts of time that was required. And actually, at one point in that whole journey, I think my grandma was like married to the pastor. So I was like, that's my granddad. And we got to eat the bread and do the grape juice kind of thing. So I definitely was raised at a church, a Methodist church, but I never really like had a huge amount of investment. I definitely like sort of passively believed because I just was trusting. And I was like, sure, yeah, God exists, Jesus is cool, whatever, cool. And then when I was around 10 or 11, my mom was also abusive. Lord drop, my mom was physically abusive. And so there was a point at which I was like praying. I had one of those ribbon crosses? It's like a piece of plastic, but somebody has like taken a ribbon through it a bunch of times and it's like a little pretty ribbon thing. I had one of those hanging in my bedroom. And at some point I was like praying, like, hey, can someone, like, it was God. I was like praying to God, like, can you help me out with this whole, like, my mom hits me situation that I'm in? Maybe, please. And I was like asking for something and I didn't receive any feedback. Like, I didn't feel anything. And like I kind of felt in that moment, I was like, oh, I'm like making a phone call and there is no one to pick up on the other end. Like, I'm trying to reach out, but I'm just in my own brain. So when I was around 10 or 11, I was like, oh, this is fake. And that was kind of my process for how I reached that point. And then my mom thought it was fucking hilarious that I was an atheist. Like, at one point we had, I don't know if they were Jehovah's or some other kind of door-to-door religious people, but we had someone come to the door and my mom was like, hey, it would be really funny if you answered the door and told them you were an atheist. So it was just a bad situation all around. My dad wasn't particularly, he kind of passively believed, but he was uncomfortable with it in a way that, like, he didn't impose it on me. And then when I was like a late teen, he kind of had like a firebrand atheist phase. And I had a firebrand atheist phase for a little bit there. But yeah, so I like kind of sort of believed for a bit. And then like being in an abusive environment and knowing that nobody was going to swoop in and save me from that situation is kind of why I stopped believing. And like that, not feeling a sense of connection or no one speaking to me or anything during my prayer, and just feeling completely ignored. Like, yeah, that's the point at which I just stopped believing. I always just say agnostic. I think there was a period of time where I might have described myself as agnostic, but P.Z. Myers, who's a biologist at the University of Minnesota, I believe, posted a blog post on Pharyngula a long time ago about how, like, he considers himself Gnostic atheist, as in a feeling of certainty in his atheism. And his justification for that was like, there is no consistent definition of God that could even be tested. Like, each definition of God that you bring can't be tested individually. And the fact that no one seems to agree on what God even is means that I can disregard this proposition in its entirety instead of leaving this thing open of like, maybe there could be a God. I don't think there is. I don't think it's possible for there to be anything like what anyone has ever described as a God. It's not real. It's just fake. So I consider myself Gnostic, although I'll usually just say I'm an atheist. That's my position. I'm not telling anybody what to think or anything. That's like where I land on the topic. One of the first things you learn when you keep bonded parrots is to hold a funeral for the living bird. I had to do that when one of my birds passed, so yeah, human exceptionalism is shit. Yeah, I've heard people say different things. Like, you should show animals their dead friend first. And I'm that's uncomfortable. And there's a whole thing of like, if you take the animal to the vet to have it euthanized, do you then bring it home to show your other cat? And I don't know. I maybe have evolved a little bit on this because so Lucy and Deegan the Mighty were a bonded pair. They were our first two cats that my partner and I had. They were a bonded pair, and Deegan the Mighty died of stroke, basically, like a blood clot situation. And he died at the vet. We took him to the vet and had him put to sleep. And for a while, at the time, we lived in the basement of a family member's house. So, like, there was a door that you would then led to the staircase. You could go upstairs. And there were times where we would sometimes let them out into that part of the house. And for several weeks, maybe even a couple months after Deegan the Mighty died, Lucy would go over to the door and like want to go out. And he didn't used to do that before. And I'm like, oh, you're looking for your buddy. And it was so sad. So I'm like, maybe it would have been better if we had brought him home. Because and with Mitternacht dying recently, that's the most amount of time I have ever spent with the body of one of my animals. Because he died at like 5 o'clock in the morning and we happened to be awake. And the vet wasn't open until like after 8 o'clock. So that was like, I feel like I've processed that down much better than the other ones, partially because I was able to spend a very large amount of time just like with his body. So and trauma is caused mostly by what happens afterwards. So I know that my trauma around Lucy dying is because I did not have adequate support and I was dealing with a lot of other shit at the time. That was a couple months before I moved out. If any deep lore people recall that situation. So yeah, I feel like I processed it much more with Mitternacht recently because I was just able to be present with him for a long amount of time. And so yeah, I do feel bad, like in retrospect, that Lucy was like, like, where's my buddy? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know if there was anything I could have done differently. Like, I didn't know any better at the time, but now in retrospect, I'm like, if I have another bonded pair, I might try to do like an at-home euthanasia, or like if I have to have them done in at the vet, like bring it back home and then send it to be cremated. Yeah, like I feel like they deserve to have the opportunity to have a reaction to that and not just be like, why, like, where did he go? He's just gone now. I'm crying over my cats. I've showed my dead cats to the others twice. One avoided him like the plague and hissed, while the other sniffed him for a bit and then ran away and started mournfully meowing. Yeah, like, I think that they understand it. Like, I think they're able to understand. Cats can definitely show signs of depression and will search for their missing buddy and get stressed. Letting them inspect the body seems to alleviate those behavioral indicators, but not always. Sure, yeah. Like, they're going to potentially be sad either way. But, like, it's the difference between them, like, not knowing. Like, you know, either, like, they understand death, they see that their buddy has gone, and they, you know, they're able to smell the body and like understand that there's no longer life animating their body, versus like the other cat is just gone. Yeah, it's tragic, but helps give closure. Yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do in the future. Like I said, right now we're only planning on getting one cat. But I doubt that that's going to be the permanent situation. Like maybe we'll get another cat later, or like maybe I'll get a dog at some point in the future. I don't know. What is scrupulosity? I will find out. Scrupulosity. No, not scrupulous, you fucking piece of shit. Scrupulosity. It's a form of obsessive compulsive disorder involving pathological guilt, fear of sinning, and intense anxiety over moral or religious perfection. That sucks. Like, yeah, religious OCD, basically. That's terrible. Damn, Bloody Hatter had the whole, like, you're possessed by Satan, we're gonna have you exorcised type family. That's fucked up. Oh, also known as religious OCD. Okay. Reading is hard, okay? Reading is really difficult. One cat is good to start. You have birds. Nope, I do not like birds. Not a fan. Do not want them. My partner grew up with birds. He does not want them. Don't like birds. No, thank you. I like owls. And I like hawks. Like, I like carnivorous birds. But most of the time, birds, nope. No, don't like it. No, not a fan. Don't want you around me. Go away. You have diseases and you're fucking loud and annoying. I have lived in a house with a bird twice. I lived with my mother-in-law who had a parrot, and then I lived with my sister-in-law who had a different parrot. And there's nothing like being woken up at 5:30 in the morning because the parrot is trying to make friends with the neighborhood crows. Like, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I love bird videos, but I do not want a 60-year-old toddler with a bolt cutter face. Yeah, I am really interested in discovering. I think for this cat, I might try putting like bird videos on the television and see if the cat cares at all about the birds on the television. Because, you want them to be entertained. You want them to have some good quality entertainment. So if you can put on the cat TV to keep them occupied for a little bit, that would be great. Did this add did this add $25 to my daily total because someone purchased something? I have received no donations or super chats today. That $25 that's up there is just from somebody giving me $25 or somebody buying something for $25 earlier, which is not necessarily 100% profit for me. It's actually, I think, only like 10, maybe a maximum of like $10 of profit. Anyway, what am I doing? This. I thought you wanted to attract crows. Yeah, but I want them to live outside. I want to be friends with wild crows. That's different than having guys in my house. My throat's starting to get dry. More cats equals more supers, just saying. I know. I'm sure you guys are going to be psyched. It depends on, we're going to get a new cat and it might not like to be picked up. So it might be a little while before I'm like picking up the cat and showing it to you. But I'll definitely be posting pictures on Patreon and the YouTube members page. And then probably after a week or two of keeping it exclusive, I'll go ahead and post on social media more broadly. And yeah, you get to see my baby. My little baby. Who will certainly be a baby. Yeah, I know. YouTube takes like 30%. You can donate directly at luxander.net/donate. Or you can do a monthly subscription, luxander.net/subscribe, I think. And that's just through PayPal. But yeah, YouTube takes like 30%. Or up to 40%. There's been some months where I'm like, I'm pretty sure you took 40% of my money. But whatever. I don't have to pay to use the platform other than they skim off my earnings. So I guess it's not that bad. Wonderful. I'm now out of water. I'll have to get more later. We're getting close to the end. Fucking Idaho, don't need that. Oh, you want to know something that I was looking up before? If you value your hands and arms, don't pick up the kitty. I legitimately don't even think I can point to all of the scars that I have from having a cat. Like that one might be from having a cat. This one is from having a cat. Like I used to like get my cat all riled up so that he would kick me with his back paws. I have one right up here from like Lucy, like close to his death. I picked up Lucy and he was just trying to stabilize himself and he really raked me with his back claws up here. So yeah, I've got like boob scars from my cats. I know streamers who have a second camera pointed at the cat bed. There is an entire possibility that the treasure chest is going to have to go somewhere else because I might put the cat bed up there if the cat wants to be up there. I mean, it's going to be behind the chat, so that might not be super convenient. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll have to do one of these, like move this so that they're more on camera. I don't know. I can never get this thing to actually stay where the fuck it is, like where I want it to be. I don't really understand why that just freely spins. It's pretty annoying. But yeah, maybe I'll have to change things around to where you can see the cat more easily. But I don't know. I've thought about completely rearranging my office. It's not set up in a very convenient fashion at the time. At this, like nothing about my office is very convenient right now. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh my god. Yeah, a lot of you guys have way more intense religious trauma than I do. And I'm very sorry. Very, very sorry for you guys. I don't have a good response to all of that, except to say, like, maybe your parents would have all figured out other justifications for the ways that they were shitty, but it wouldn't have been because they think fucking demons are real. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, if the cat doesn't like to be handled, you could set up a cat cam so you can switch cameras in response to donos. Yeah. I would just have to figure that out. Like, I do have a secondary camera. Whoa! Up here. And I did used to have that camera set up in my terrarium when I had the bugs. So I had like the terrarium. Religious trauma made me the mistrustful, paranoid person I am today. Unsurprising. People assume all the scratch scars I have are from cats, so their face when I tell them it's from large water monitors and iguanas is priceless. Monitor lizards like Joanna. What bugs did you have? I had isopods. Porcellanitis Porcellanitis pruinosis, orange cream are the ones that I had. And also some Armadillidium vulgare in the mix. I don't think that was intentional. I think that one just managed to get in there. And so they were like out competing each other and stuff. Yeah, so if you guys maybe remember, it's actually still called bugs in my scenes. Like this is still called bugs because it used to have that camera set up on it. Yeah. Right now I have some springtails. Those are not Joanna's eggs. Listen, I haven't watched The Rescuers Down Under in such a long time. I would love to rewatch it. Like The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under. Those were childhood defining films for me. Hope your night is going okay-ish. Yeah, thank you, Draconardar painting. I'm doing okay. Yeah. Yeah. If it made you think of The Rescuers Down Under, then that was correct. Yeah, we're doing okay. I went gym, what do you call it? Oh man, I had a word for this earlier today. I went gym shopping earlier today. and I decided on a gym that I would like to go to. So that's exciting. I got a gym membership today. You will, if you all don't know, there was at one point there was a free gym that I had access to, so I was going to the gym regularly, but then I injured myself and I stopped going. And then I also was a gym rat for like a year or two before I moved. And like now I found a gym that is like relatively low speed. Like there's not a huge like a bunch of people in there. It seems like it's a good culture. It's very clean. Yeah, it's not cheap, but it's my health that we're talking about here. So, you know, it's a trade-off. I didn't see The Rescuers until I was an adult, but I definitely watched Down Under a bunch. That was peak American obsession with Australia. Sure, yeah, totally. And it's been such a long time. I had an ornament from those movies. I wanted a boomerang so bad because of that movie. Yeah. That The Rescuers Down Under is where my fuck, what's it called? My pet peeve about large birds or like large animals flying directly over water without flapping their wings began. You may, if you've seen The Rescuers Down Under, you may recall that there was a part where like there's the golden eagle and the kid is like riding on the golden eagle's back and they fly down a waterfall and then they kind of like even out and they fly over the river and the claws of the eagle kind of like touch the water. And it's just like, it fucking is a huge pet peeve of mine. I'm like, that's not how that's not how, the air over water is cold. And if you're going to like fly over it without flapping, it's like fuck, what are they called? It's not condors, is it? The big birds in the southern hemisphere who can go for like they go for like 18 months without ever landing one time. Well, they have their wings locked in a calorie efficient position, but they also swoop because the air over water is choppy and unpredictable. So, yeah. Having read Animorphs, yeah, that's not how birds work. Dally, fucking literally Animorphs. Like albatross, thank you. Riding thermals and like rising on thermals. And also it's also in there was an albatross in The Rescuers. Yeah, cool. It's been a fucking long time since I've seen either of those movies. But yeah, so like, and also in the Dragon book series that I like so much, we have a couple of chapters from the perspective of the dragon, and like the author of these books is one of those authors who's like, yes, I did pause writing to spend 6 hours researching seaweed for this one sentence. So I know that when he's from the perspective of the dragon, he's writing like cool wind over cool air over water. Like I feel fairly confident that that is reflective of the actual conditions. And so you will drop. Like there's no thermals rising up over water. Does anybody want me to continue my dragon series? None of the videos are public right now. I had like the one first video, and then I was in the process of making my first like actual video where I was reviewing Dragonheart, and then I realized that I don't like my scripted performance, so I need to just outline these things and just perform them more naturally. These are the kinds of pet peeves that I get into. I forgot how much they go over what happens when Tobias and others fly in the books. Yeah, it's been forever. This doesn't sound like the one you meant. The common swift bird holds the record, being able to stay in the air for 10 months. Albatross is not just southern hemisphere, and they do not stay aloft quite that long. I think you're conflating the common swift with the condor and albatross, which has the record at 10 months. Maybe. I thought that it was an albatross that's like spends because they roost in Australia or something, but they fly for long periods of time. I did some specific research on the albatross because it's the largest current existing flying bird. So knowing its flight mechanics is important, but I may have gotten my wires crossed on parts of that, and I will concede. It's just been a while since I did that research. Animorphs and Goosebumps. Yeah, I didn't read Goosebumps so much as I read Fear Street. It's surprising how much I used to be into like horror stuff, but I don't know if I was actually into it or if it was just that was what was available. Yeah, 10 months in the air is, I mean, it's like I said, they lock their wings in place. They have like some kind of physiological thing where they it's like a relaxed position basically, where they have their wings out and like locked in a relaxed position, and they ride the choppy air above water and like drop down and grab food and then go back up. Yeah, 18 months I might be exaggerating or like misremembering on that. Animorphs is great, and we need an Animorphs film series and TV series, not more Harry Potter shit. There was an Animorphs TV series at one point. Interestingly, it was already like done by the time I was reading the books. In the early 2000s, Animorphs TV show. 1998, the Animorphs TV show. How many seasons? 5 kids are given the power to morph into blah, blah, blah. Oh man, it only went for like 2 seasons. First episode date, September 15, 1998. Final episode date, October 8th, 1999. Damn. Only got 2 seasons. Dang. That's a bummer. I would love to go back and watch it. I bet it's so cringe. It was a super Canadian show and therefore sucked. That's funny. Damn. Yeah. I would love to rebuild my Animorphs collection. It's one of the things I abandoned with my mother. I'm actually curious if she still has them. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. Maybe she realized they were worth money and sold them. But if she still has them, I would kind of love to get a hold of them. I never had a full collection because I think we were missing books, I want to say 51 and 53 out of 54. So I missed part of the story toward the end because I wanted to finish reading the series. So I never had a total complete collection. But man, it would be very fucking hard to rebuild that collection at this point. Like, I still have The Elemist. Where is it? Here it is. I kept my copy of The Elemist Chronicles because this book is the first book that I remember absolutely devastating me emotionally. I was like 9 or 10 years old when I read this book, and it's the first time I remember feeling like truly depressed and devastated from a book. So this one I kept. So I guess that's where my collection begins, is with The Elemist Chronicles, and then like, but people really covet their Animorphs collection, so I don't know if I'm ever gonna fucking have another. Man, let me know if you ever come across any Animorphs books. I'll take them. Do you have a favorite kind of tea? Right now, I would say jasmine tea. I had some really good jasmine tea that I finally ran out of, and I bought some new jasmine tea from the Asian market, and it's just not nearly as good. Like jasmine tea is really, it's really, really, really delicious. I do like a ginger tea, but that's a herbal tea. It's not like actually tea. And I have a black tea that it might be like Earl Grey because it has bergamot oil and rose petals. That's also good, but it's not my favorite anymore. Like definitely like the jasmine tea is my favorite. Hork-Bajir Chronicles was my favorite of all the books, I think. I don't think I ever had that one. It Part of my problem is the list I was keeping to keep track of the Animorphs books I was buying, I lost. The books are in storage, not accessible currently, so I'm not exactly sure how many I have. I hope that your books are doing well in storage, because sometimes that goes crazy. I had this lovely jasmine pearl tea a few years ago. That sounds so good. There was a brief blip. Well, I'm almost done anyway. Sorry for the buffering. There's nothing I can do to stop the internet problems. Anyway, speaking of that, I'm gonna go pee and leave. So sorry that YouTube decided to shit itself right at the end. I keep touching this because it's itchy. I'm like trying not to scratch myself. But yeah, if you know where I could go to rebuild my collection of Animorphs books, I guess I should just start trolling eBay. I'm not normally like a collection person, but I would legitimately pay money for those books and keep them forever. They would be mine forever. Yeah, the Andalite Chronicles, that was good stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna leave. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. I've had a good time. We've had a lot of dumbass conversations about nothing in particular, and that's exactly what I love to do with my streams. So thanks for hanging out. And I will not be streaming this weekend because I'm getting a cat. If you want to be among the first who's going to see my new kitten, subscribe on Patreon for $1 a month. You'll get to see pictures of my new cat. And you may or may not see it on stream for a while because, again, I want to let the kitty like get used to being in the house. And like if it doesn't want to be picked up, I'm going to wait a while to start conditioning it to be picked up. No, Shakespeare, you've missed everything. Yeah, sorry. All right. Good night. See y'all.